We be live. Hi, everyone. Let me see if we are live on the channel. Let me double check if my audio is. How's my audio? Let's get started on this really fast because I want to make sure that. Guys, make sure you are liking the stream right now. Okay, the audio is working. Fantastic. How's everyone? How's everyone doing? Thank you for being here. Dee is here. Dr. Tong is here. Alfred is here. Hey, Alfred, thank you so much. Alfred is here. Levantex is confirming that the audio is working. Guys, Alfred is going to be highlighting your comments, so it's not just my opinion that is part of the show. Your opinions get to be part of the show as well. So we are just going to get right into it. So because I want to make sure that this is not being exaggerated. A lot of the content that we're seeing regarding people saying that free speech is under attack in the UK, a lot of it is coming from right-leaning accounts. I want to make sure that we double check and see how big of a threat and how valid this concern is, right? So let's just get right to it. Let's see what the claims are, and then we'll fact check how serious of an issue this is. Okay, so let's go to this one, and then I will while these are playing, I'll also make sure that I do my fact checks in the background. So let's check. And guys, I need you guys to give me your comments, and Alfred will be starring some of the comments so that we could all figure this out together. Okay, I will read some of the comments that Alfred has starred for me to read. Thank you guys. A lot of people are confirming in the live chat that they're liking the stream. Please do so. We need this channel to grow. So by you liking the stream, more people end up watching the stream. I think we're doing a good job here. I think this channel does deserve to grow. So please go ahead and like the stream. So let's watch this.
What about Operation Early Dawn? Because obviously we had the rioting. Keir Starmer acted very quickly. A load of people went to prison, but the prisons are full.
This is a really
Okay, so you guys, the audio from this video is good, right? Like you can hear it properly, right? So the issue, actually, I should first read the context of what I'm. So there's emergency measures right now in the UK. Because they're trying to arrest a whole bunch of people who are far right bigots that have said something naughty on Twitter or Facebook. But the UK has been dealing with prisons who are full of people. So apparently they're letting the criminals go so that they have enough room in prison for people who are have been naughty online, right? So apparently, like they just let a child rapist, for example, one of the people that has been freed is one of they have been. And again, this is actually, if this is all true, this is insane. And at some point, some of these people that they're letting free is going to do something, a crime that people are going to come and hold Starmer for that, responsible for that crime. So that's what I think is going to happen at some point. We'll see. But now that you have the context, let's listen to this.
What about Operation Early Dawn? Because obviously we had the rioting. Keir Starmer acted very quickly. A load of people went to prison. But the prisons are full.
This is a really, really difficult one for Keir Starmer. The public, if you poll the public on prisoners, again and again and again, you see that people feel that prisoners should be treated quite harshly. People do not like the early release of prisoners. Keir Starmer has tried to frame this as the Conservative government left us in this huge mess. There is nothing we can do but release prisoners early. It's not gone down very well with the public. The public, interestingly, I would have thought perhaps Keir Starmer's response to the riots was pretty fierce. But actually, some of the public think that he hasn't gone far enough, and very few think that he went too far. So it's going to be quite difficult for him if, this early doors thing happens, you get lots and lots of prisoners released, then you've got rioters being locked up. There won't be any appetite for those rioters to be released early. And so you just get into the same situation.
Wait, so child rapist, there's appetite for them to be released, but the rioters, I mean protesters, I think, including are they mixing the protesters with the rioters? There's no appetite for them to be released. Okay, sure. Let's see what's yeah, okay. By the way, don't just hold the politicians responsible. The UK public, a lot of them who are supporting this fierce reaction to people who have their wrong belief or wrong views, that's also, I mean, at the end of the day, the politicians are somewhat a reflection of the people. And I know some people are going to criticize me for that, saying like, no, not in the UK. I mean, in the UK, the number of seats that you get in the parliament is not actually a good representation of how popular you are because of the way you guys do your elections there. But even with that, at the end of the day, they did get some votes. It is a reflection of what people want, no?
Again. And of course, what happens, all journalists will be watching with a hawk to what happens to those prisoners who are being released over the next few weeks. If any of them go on to commit a serious crime quite soon, and the stats show that that is very, very likely, then Keir Starmer will have a real problem on his hands.
Hey, that's what I said. Yeah, I said it's very like you're going to release these people, and at some point, somewhere, somebody's going to do something stupid. So some of these people who have been released, and then Keir Starmer is going to be like, what? You released this guy. Now you are responsible for this crime, right? Isn't that what's going to happen at some point?
Stats show that that is very, very likely. Then Keir Starmer will have a real problem on his hands.
It's not just the. I was just trying to say that the Prison Officers Association. I can't speak this morning. The Prison Officers Association are blaming the Conservatives for this mess and saying it's an inherited thing. This isn't actually Keir Starmer's fault. It's not just Starmer that would be making that point. And they say that the Tories closed 20 public sector prisons. They didn't build enough new prisons, and they didn't create enough prisons.
Hey, I actually don't feel bad about sometimes, some of the words are a tongue twister for me. This is a native English speaker, and she couldn't say association. So this makes me feel good about sometimes not being able to say certain words. I'm going to just play that part one more time for my own sake because I enjoyed it.
Serious crime quite soon, and the stats show that that is very, very likely. Then Keir Starmer will have a real problem on his hands.
It's not just the. I was just trying to say that the Prison Officers Association. I can't speak this morning. The Prison Officers Association are blaming the Conservatives for this mess and saying it's an inherited thing. This isn't actually Keir Starmer's fault. It's not just Starmer that would be making that point. And they say that the Tories closed 20 public sector prisons. They didn't build enough new prisons, and they didn't create enough prison space. And people are serving longer sentences. So do you think people at home will look at it and think, I agree, actually, with that. This wasn't the problem that Starmer has, it's an inherited problem.
Well, there certainly is an element of that, but it's not just a practical thing. And I think the fact that, Keir Starmer, he can make the argument that the Conservatives left him in this mess and he has no choice but to do this. But his new prisons minister, James Timpson, who set up Timpson's, the rehabilitation chain shop, he philosophically, fundamentally believes that fewer people should be in prison. So I think that sort of undermines the point that the only reason that Keir Starmer is doing this is because he has no other practical option but to release prisoners early. So I wonder if that will filter through to people sitting at home. Obviously, most people won't know the political opinion specifically of the new Labour prisons minister, but there is certainly a philosophical belief within the Labour Party, this Labour Party, that prisoners shouldn't be in prison for as long as they are.
Okay, so now let's listen to himself. Listen to what he has to say about all of this. So what is the context of this one? And we're going to fact check a lot of these things. Okay, so Starmer's strategy on public safety. That's the context for this video. So let's watch this one.
Prime Minister, is there any risk to the public safety from Operation Early Dawn, either in terms of policing operations that?
Why are they calling it Operation Early Dawn? Is this sounds like the first few minutes of a movie where like this doesn't it sound like a beginning of a movie where it starts which is giving you the highlights of how things started and how everything went to shit. They called it, somebody comes and explains a story where how we got to the point that we are right now, like everything has gone to shit, and then the speaker comes like they called it Operation Early Dawn. And then this happened, and then this happened. And at first, people were optimistic, and then things went to shit. And now we're like, it's the end of times. Is it Early Dawn? Like, is this like a movie? Like, is this real life? This is weird. Like, I don't know. Like, it's very Hollywood-like, isn't it?
Prime Minister, is there any risk to the public safety from Operation Early Dawn, either in terms of policing operations that may now be postponed or from prisoners being granted bail who would otherwise not have been?
Well, these decisions are really tough decisions, and nobody wants to take them. They're difficult decisions.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Should I keep the criminal in prison, or should I let the criminal go and put somebody in prison that has said something for wrong belief, for having put somebody in prison for having the wrong opinion? Very tough decision. That's a doozy. Like, that's a head scratcher. Tough decision. Okay, like, oh, somebody who RAPE'd a child, or somebody who said something racist on Twitter. Very difficult decision.
Granted bail who would otherwise not have been.
Well, these decisions are really tough decisions and nobody wants to take them. They're difficult decisions. They're having to be taken for one reason, and one reason only, and that is the terrible inheritance on prisons that we had as an incoming government from the previous government. There was a basic failure, which is a failure to have enough prison places for the number of prisoners that were being sentenced to prison. That is about as basic a failure of government from the previous government as you could possibly have got. We've had to deal with that with the additional strain of the disorder of recent weeks. But as I hope we've been able to demonstrate, we've taken tough decisions. We've been able to prove that if you commit disorder, you can be expected to be put through the criminal justice system quickly, and we will continue in that vein. But I'm not going to pretend that this isn't a challenge. We will take the necessary tough decisions on this, but we should never, ever have been put in a position that we're in today. Thank you so much.
But with respect, you haven't.
Yeah, okay, so let's say, here's the thing. Let's say he's correct. Let's say it's not his fault that, it's not, it is, he is correct. It's not his fault that the prisoners are this full. Yeah, he just got there. He just got here, right? But given that you have such a challenging situation to deal with, why the fuck are you arresting people for thought crimes, right? Like, you're making it worse. Yeah, so you have been receiving a very, messy situation. But should your priority now be to arrest people for thought crimes given this messy situation?
Answered, is there a risk to public safety from this new operation?
That risk, and of course, these are tough decisions. But I think you've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks the way in which we've approached this, which is to make sure that any risk is mitigated, to make sure that we do have the spaces available for the prisoners that we need to be held in prison. We've managed that against very difficult circumstances, I can tell you. And for my part, I think the response of the criminal justice to the recent disorders has been a major reason that the disorders have subsided for the time being. Thank you.
Right. So let's see these people's opinions about this, because they are basically saying everything that we wanted to say in a very short video, right? What is the context of this video? Hold on. This is video number 4. Yeah. So I don't know if I can say, yeah, I'm going to say it because they're going to say it anyway. So apparently pedophiles are being, not just pedophiles, people who have actually committed, who have sexually harassed children are being released. So let's see and these people are commenting on it. So let's listen to this.
Can you make it make sense how a paedophile, convicted paedophile, and we're talking about very young children here, gets a suspended 12-month sentences, but one Facebook post gets a middle-aged woman, what she said was stupid, not condoning that, but one Facebook post gets her 15 months in prison straight away with no chance for an early release? David, can you just make it make sense for me, please?
I wish I.
Okay, so he said, I wish I could, so he can't. Okay, I like how she framed. I think this is the entirety of what the point here in a very short video, right? So that's very good. She summarized the whole problem, right? But I like how she said, because a lot of the people who are defending the people who are getting arrested, they're defending what they are saying. Some of them are vile, to be honest, right? The point is that it doesn't matter how vile they are. Some of them are being, we'll review what they're being arrested for, right? Be careful not to endorse the comments of the people who are being arrested. It doesn't matter if their comments are incorrect. You shouldn't be arrested for comments, even if they are vile, even if they're racist. Like, I'm not saying all of them are, some of the comments were not even racist. Like, we will review them right now, right? But to be fair, some of them were, right? But even they shouldn't be arrested. It's an expression of a thought. We should, when it comes to, guys, do you understand the concept of freedom of expression is not that we will defend the expression of views that we endorse. When we are defending freedom of expression, we are defending the expression of all beliefs, including the ones that we find vile and disgusting. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the defending of freedom of expression. Because if we were defending only comments that we like, then we don't need it. It wouldn't require defending anyways, because everybody will just approve of them. So the whole point of freedom of expression is for you to defend the expression of thoughts that you actually hate, not the comments that you like. But that's why I like how she framed it. She was talking about, I don't endorse it, but what the fuck?
Can you make it make sense how a paedophile, convicted paedophile, and we're talking about very young children here, gets a suspended 12-month sentences, but a one Facebook post gets a middle-aged woman, what she said was stupid, not condoning that.
So I'm glad she clarified that she's not condoning it, okay?
But one Facebook post gets her 15 months in prison straight away with no chance for an early release. David, can you just make it make sense for me, please?
Dawn, I wish I.
All right, so let's look at an example. I don't know who this guy is. I mean, we reviewed one video of him before, but this guy apparently had this experience. What is this guy? Who's this guy? Hold on, let me see. This is video number 2. This is a journalist who's arrested in the UK under terrorist act law. Wow. Okay, so let's listen to him. And again, I don't know if everything he's saying is correct. I might fact check it, but let's listen to his explanation of what happened, and I will see why he actually got arrested, whether what he's saying here is honest or not. So let's listen to him.
My name is Richard Thomas Medhurst. I'm an internationally accredited journalist from the United Kingdom. On Thursday, as I landed in London Heathrow Airport, I was immediately escorted off the plane by 6 police officers who were waiting for me at the entrance of the aircraft. They arrested me, not detained, they arrested me under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act of 2000 and accused me of allegedly, quote, expressing an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organization, unquote, but wouldn't explain what this meant. One officer took my bags, and when I asked why he was still back in the aircraft, I was told, look, mate, you can get nicked right here in front of everyone or in there, your choice. So I was taken to an adjacent room, patted down, my phone confiscated. I was not allowed to inform my family. Despite being calm and cooperative, I was handcuffed with something that placed my shoulders in an awkward position and my wrists on top of rather than next to each other. The handcuffs were extremely tight. Despite the police loosening them, they left marks on me for 2 days. The police took me down onto the runway, put me in a police van, essentially a mobile cage, and informed me that everything was being recorded. The van was cramped. I had to struggle the entire time to keep my balance and try not to fall over as we drove to the police station. Now, once inside the station, they searched me again for the second time within 10 minutes. I was told to sit on a bench, remove my shoes, remove my socks. I was told to turn my socks inside out and hold them up for the officers to inspect. They also made me hold up my feet so they could check them as well. The officers took me to a room with UV lights, which they told me is used to catch burglars who are sprayed with something. I have no idea why they did this since they just removed me off of a plane. My suitcase was then opened in the lobby and ransacked. All of my journalistic equipment and devices were seized, including phones, SIM cards, wireless microphones, headphones, even my shoelaces. They later took my DNA as well, my fingerprints, palm prints, and photographed me. I was placed in solitary confinement in a cold cell that smelt like urine. There was barely any light, and the bed, if you can even call it a bed, was simply a small concrete ledge with a paper-thin mattress. The cell had no windows, no heating, no toilet paper. I was recorded 24/7 with audio and video, even when going to the toilet. I had to eat food with a piece of cardboard that you were supposed to fold in two in order to scoop up the meal. The police said that I have the right to inform someone that I'm locked up. So I said, okay, I want to call my family. And then they'd go, well, your calls are withheld because of the nature of the alleged offense. I tried to ask, well, what's the point of a right if you can just randomly withdraw it? Why tell me that I have this right at all? And one of them said something along the lines of, well, it's not an absolute right, it can be waived. Similarly, they said I had the right to know why I was being detained. So I asked again, and the police would say something like, well, we're just the arresting officers, we don't really know. Or this will be explained to you during the interview, or some other generic response. Now, despite the police officers' civility and cheerfulness, I felt that the whole process was designed to humiliate, intimidate, and dehumanize me, and treat me like a criminal, even though they must have been aware of my background and that I'm a journalist. I was under surveillance almost the entire time from the moment I was arrested until I was released, be it in the police van, in the station, the cell, all of it. No privacy whatsoever. Many of my requests were also delayed or outright ignored, When I was detained, I asked for water several times. The police would always say, sure, but then I ended up waiting hours for a tiny cup of water. I asked if I could have my own clothes because I was in a t-shirt. It was cold and I couldn't sleep. They said they'd give me a pullover, but never did. Although one guard did give me a second blanket. See, you have to nag and nag for the most basic things. And this is why I was afraid that they weren't even going to call a solicitor for me. I was able to see the nurse on one occasion, but on 3 other occasions, when I asked to see the nurse, they'd say yes and then nothing. For many hours, no one in the world knew what had happened to me or where I was. Only the police could call a solicitor for me. I had to ask like 4 or 5 different guards for several hours until I finally received a call. Some of my solicitor's calls did not get through or were not answered. One of the calls, my solicitor was told, would be monitored, and so they simply refused to take it. I asked to speak to the solicitor afterwards when that happened, but I was not allowed to. In total, I spent almost 24 hours in detention. At no point whatsoever was I allowed to speak to a family member or a friend. After waiting 15 hours, I was finally interviewed by 2 detectives. The interview lasted about an hour and a half, maybe something like that. So there's clearly no need to hold me there this entire time. But I believe this was done on purpose to try and rattle me psychologically. That failed. I categorically and utterly reject all the accusations by the police. I am not a terrorist. I have no criminal record. Prior to this incident, I'd never been detained in my entire life. I'm a product of the diplomatic community, and I'm raised to be anti-war. Both of my parents won Nobel Peace Prizes for their work as United Nations peacekeepers. They had a tremendous effect on my worldview and outlook and instilled in me the importance of diplomacy, international law, and peace. I myself am a victim of terrorism. When I attended the British school in Islamabad, the Egyptian embassy adjacent to my school was blown up in a double bombing. I categorically and unequivocally condemn terrorism. I am a Medhurst. My family goes back 1,000 years in this country. I come from a long line of public servants. My father served in the London Metropolitan Police before entering the United Nations. He is an expert and an authority on counter-terrorism who taught me much. My grandfather was in the Royal Air Force during World War II, and his father before him in the British Army in World War I. I perhaps don't have the same career paths as them, but I consider my journalism to be a public service and my way of doing my bit for the country by providing a counterweight to mainstream media. I love my country.
Okay. Now he's just talking about himself. I don't care about that part. So yeah, I just double checked. He was arrested. By the way, guys, before I talk about what he said, why he was arrested, like what was the opinion that he was arrested for, do you agree that whatever it was, this is insane? Do you agree with that? Because I'm assuming a lot of you assume that he's one of the people that has been labeled as far right. But would you, because we reviewed this guy before, reviewed the video of this guy before, and we were against his views because yeah, okay, so people are saying yes, okay. Because this guy actually has opinions that are completely opposite of ours. This guy is a Hamas sympathizer. This guy is actually an anti-Israeli advocate, and the reason why he was arrested was for his views regarding Hamas, right? So this is why I'm saying that we should be, but it's insane. So I'm glad a lot of you guys agree with me that this is insane, regardless of what this guy's views are. So let me actually, this is what Richard Medhurst was reportedly arrested for allegedly expressing support for Hamas. Again, if that's his view and that's what he's supporting, that's disgusting, that's vile, that is stupid, and that's idiotic, and this guy has stupid beliefs. But what the hell? Like, you shouldn't be arrested for that. That's not, I mean, that's insane that in the UK you could be arrested for your views, regardless of how disgusting or backwards or wrong they are. So, which is, so in the UK, that's considered to be prescribed organization under. Okay, so it's considered terrorist. It should be. Hamas is a terrorist organization under UK law. So Medhurst has been known to voice opinions that could be interpreted as supporting of Palestinian resistance, meaning Hamas, basically, which in the context of UK law may have been construed as support for Hamas. His arrest under Section 12 of the UK's Terrorism Act 2000 was related to accusations of expressing opinions or beliefs supported. Okay, prescribed to organization. Okay, so this is a good example of why this is not. What do you think? So for people who say ban Islam, or now that they're coming for what they refer to as far right, do you think the patriots, the people who consider Islam or mass migration to be a danger for the UK, do you think now that Starmer is going out and arresting people for their tweets, do you think that's going to make these beliefs increase or decrease? Do you think like a lot of the UK citizens who are concerned about their country because people who are getting arrested for tweets and Facebook posts, do you think they're going to be like, you know what? Let's tone it down a bit. Let's not fight for our country. Because I think that what Starmer is doing is going to get people more angry, more riled up, and more determined to fight for their country because they feel vindicated. They feel like they must be on the right side if the police is cracking down on them so in such a way. But in the same way, if you want to, from the other side, like, because we think everybody should have the freedom of expression, including Muslims, including people who are supporting Hamas, even though I am a Zionist, okay? I support Israel. I think this guy with his anti-Israeli beliefs should have freedom of expression. And if you say like, no, Armin, some views need to be illegal, do you seriously think that by making it illegal, these ideas are not going to spread? Like, for example, you saw how they treated this man, right? His voice is going to get louder because of his arrest. His opinions are going to get seen more. He's now on the news. More people are now curious about what this man has to say. He's going to be discovered by more people. Making opinions illegal is just not, it's not, even if you don't believe in free speech, strategically, it doesn't make any sense. Strategically, it's not going to suppress those ideas. It's just never works. Anyways, let's go. Are you guys convinced? Like, I'm not endorsing this guy. Obviously, this guy is an idiot who's a Hamas sympathizer, right? This guy is a terrorist sympathizing moron. But again, I will fight for his freedom of expression. He should be able to say what the hell he wants. Yeah, so Chuck was saying he's a disgusting terrorist advocate. Yeah, I know, but what do we want to do? We want to like make his speech illegal? We want to make his speech illegal? Is that what we're going to do? So now let's listen to this person. Let's see what is happening here.
So the United Kingdom, the country of the...
Wait, let me see, actually, who's this? We should give her credit. What's this? This is video number 7. Let me make sure I mention her account. So we got this from her. This is Eva. Oh my God! How the hell do you pronounce this last name? This is the most unpronounceable last name I've ever seen in my life. Holy crap! I'm just gonna type the last name, the full name, in the live chat, and I'm just gonna highlight it. Guys, can you help? What the hell is this a last name or is this an essay? What is Eva? I'm gonna try. Eva Lardinger. Wait, no, I can't. What the fuck is that? Okay. Okay. Or it's Dutch. Okay, Dutch. Why is it so long? Anyway, so I wanted to give her credit, but because that last name was unpronounceable, I just put it on the screen for you guys. So let's listen what she has to say.
So the United Kingdom, the country of the Magna Carta, arguably the first ever document in European history that stated that the government, the king, was not above the law, is now sentencing people to jail for disagreeing with them online or for attending a protest and saying, we have had enough of your open border policies. We have had enough of mass immigration, of its detrimental consequences, and we want change. Because just like I have, you've probably been seeing all of the reports of the countless people who are now at an extremely fast rate, like we're talking matter of weeks, are being tried and sentenced and sent to jail for months and years for essentially doing very little or either nothing but to disagree with the government. So what does that make the UK?
Okay, I think she's exaggerating a little bit, but let's hear her out. I think this is a little bit of the hyperbole. Again, guys, the situation is real bad enough. We don't need to make it seem worse than it is. So I'm gonna listen all the way through, and then I'm gonna come back and fact check her.
So what does that make the UK? Really, and I've been thinking about this. What options do people in the United Kingdom have left to disagree with their government? If you disagree with the government and you post about it online, or you attend a protest, and maybe things get a little bit heated, but like I said, the consequences of mass immigration are not exactly small either. You get sent to jail. You get sent to jail. What other options do you then have? And what's interesting is in that most of these cases that I've been reading about, for example, the case of this poor man, David Springer, 61-year-old, who's been working as a train driver for 42 years, who's now taking care of his sick wife, who has been sentenced to jail because they wanted to make a sacrificial lamb out of him. They wanted to set an example to the rest of the UK. And that message was very clear. That message was, you don't get to disagree with us. You don't get to be present at these protests, because David Springer did absolutely nothing. And we have video footage of that. He was there. He, according to the reports, maybe shouted something at the police. Well, boo-hoo. Is that worth 18 months in jail? I don't think so. And we know for a fact that other people who commit far worse crimes, actual crimes, in the United Kingdom, do not get sent to these types of sentences or get sent to jail for this type of time. The two-tier Keir justice system. The UK is no longer a free nation. If you do not have democratic options to express your disagreement with the government, that country is no longer a democracy. And that's the only conclusion that I can come to in all of these cases. A mother of 5 being sent to 26 months in jail because she threw a can at the police, is that proportionate? A man online who committed the crime of, according to the government, inciting racial hatred because he posted one post on Facebook? Is that proportionate? I don't think so. I don't think so. But it's very clear, like I said, what the message is here. You are not allowed to disagree with the government. And if you do, we will send you straight to jail. Welcome to the United Kingdom.
Okay, so I know a lot of you are going to hate me for this, okay? That's an exaggeration, okay? But, it's not like everybody who's disagreeing with the government is going to be sent to jail. There's a whole bunch of mainstream media even is disagreeing with the government, right? This is what's happening in the UK is absolutely wrong. Like, people getting arrested for their opinion is wrong. But don't go ahead and, because if you exaggerate, then nobody's going to take this threat seriously. What is happening right now is a threat to democracy. It's a threat to freedom of expression. But if you go and say, oh yeah, now anybody who disagrees with the government in the UK is going to get arrested. What are you? No, it's not. That's not where we are at. Like, not even close. I mean, look at the last thing that she said. There's so many. I mean, I showed you a lot of mainstream media that are criticizing the government. Like, if you write an article in the UK, if you go online and talk against the government, you're not going to get arrested for that. Again, I'm not endorsing the people who are getting arrested. I'm not saying the situation is not bad. The situation is horrible. But if you act like we are at a threat level that is concerning. But if you exaggerate it, then people are going to come like, oh my God, look at what these far right people are saying. They're saying you cannot disagree with the government. But so many people are disagreeing with government and nobody's doing anything for them. And that's why we should never take these people seriously at all. So look at what she said at the very end. Look at what she's saying, like, UK is no longer a free nation.
If you do not have democratic options to express your disagreement with the government, that country is no longer a democracy. And that's the only conclusion that I can come to in all of these cases. A mother of 5 being sent to 26 months in jail because she threw a can at the police, is that proportionate?
No, that's not. That's wrong. That's a stupid. You're right. This is stupid. Okay.
A man online who committed the crime of according to the government, inciting racial hatred because he posted one post on Facebook?
I mean, I'm gonna defend that guy. I think even more because he didn't even say that was racial. I mean, I'm gonna fact check that guy that you just mentioned. I'm gonna go fact check what happened to him. But that's stupid. That man being arrested, that's idiotic. Yeah, I agree with her over this.
Is that proportionate?
No,
I don't think so.
You're right about that.
But it's very clear, like I said, what the message is here. You are not allowed to disagree with the government.
You are not allowed to disagree with the government. Are you serious? Like you exaggerating here. Your concern about these people being arrested is valid, but you saying that you're not allowed to disagree with the government, that is a huge exaggeration, and that's not going to help us. Huge exaggeration of what's happening here. There's so many people, even in mainstream media, who was in the UK, who's criticizing the government right now for these arrests. People are disagreeing with the government. The government is even disagreeing with the government. You have MPs who are calling this out. I don't know. Why are you saying this? Like, how is this?
And if you do, we will send you straight to jail.
Oh, yeah, sent to jail. Like, everybody who's disagreeing with the government is being sent to jail. So, no, that's not what's happening.
Welcome to the United Kingdom.
Okay, so to be fair to her, though, that guy, the 61-year-old man, David Spring, who was arrested. So let me see why he was arrested. Okay, so let me see. So David Spring was sentenced to 18 months in prison for his involvement in violent disorder. So now let me see what does that mean? Violent disorder during the unrest in London, where he and others participated in aggressive actions against police and attempted to destroy property. Let me see. What did he do exactly? David Spring was jailed to violent disorder during far-right protests in London. The protest was organized by Danny Thomas. Okay, was 700 people attended. So what did he do exactly that they considered violent? During the demonstration, Spring was caught on camera making threatening gestures, shouting obscenities, and participating in Islamophobic chants such as "Who the fuck is Allah?" and you're not English anymore. Wait, how is that violent? The court found that Spring's actions contributed to the disorder and encouraged others to engage in similar behavior. So it names the judge and everything. So then I went to look to figure out exactly other than chanting, what was the gestures that he did that was so criminal that got him 18 months, right? I was checking. Let me see. This protest organized with Spring's actions, including making threatening gestures, shouting obscenities. Okay, so the shoutings are just "Who the fuck is Allah," which is not racial, and you're not English anymore. I mean, he's not identifying. I mean, even if it was racist, it shouldn't be a crime. But doesn't sound even racist. And then I was like, okay, so the other things that he did was just chanting. What was that gesture? Maybe the gesture was something like there are certain gestures that could be considered a direct threat of harm. I'm not going to do it on YouTube, right? So, for example, imagine my finger and imagine this is my neck. I'm not going to do it across my neck, okay? I'm just going to go I'm not. Oh my God. YouTube is going to strike us down. But imagine if this was my neck and I was doing my finger across my neck like this, like pretending that my finger was a knife. If I did that gesture to the police, then that could be considered a direct threat of harm, right? So I was like, okay, so the chance shouldn't be criminal. What was the gesture that got him 18 months in prison? So this is what I found. Hold on. He did something with his finger. Oh, here it is. He was caught on camera jabbing his finger at the police while shouting obscenities and participating in Islamophobic chants. So jabbing fingers at the police, is that like this? Like this? Is that he got 18 months for this? Is jabbing at the police, right? Is this jabbing? So it wasn't the knife movement that could be correctly interpreted as a threat to violence. He was going like this. Who the fuck is Allah, right? Wait, am I going to be arrested now if I go to the UK? So even according to what the police is describing, he just chanted, "Who the fuck is Allah? Your English no more." And the worst thing he did, he was like going like this to the police while he was chanting. Okay. So that got him 18 months in prison? What the hell? Okay. So again, guys, this is insane. This is insane. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? All right, so again, all of these analysis that I'm doing is being done by people who are biased, and I'm not saying that in a negative way because obviously we're biased as well. So I went to one of the most objective sources that I could find to analyze this whole situation for us. This is a very good objective channel that I watched, to TLDR News UK. So they did a good job in summarizing what the fuck is happening here with regards to how much free speech is your freedom of expression is being threatened in the UK. But let me actually, before I review that, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. So hold on, let me see. Okay, so let me see. Somebody saying Truthstick saying the UK needs some biblical laws when a thief is caught. What the hell is this? When the thief is caught, then take their hand. If a groomer or rapist is caught, then take their private parts. Okay, yeah, that sounds insane. That sounds very Islamic. Okay, oh, we got a super chat. That's great. So we got Ash is saying, it's truly the two-tier justice system. Okay. Like, so for people who don't know what he's saying, Ash, Keir Starmer, Keir in Persian means penis. That's why he's rating it in Persian. Ash is saying, can you not disagree with her so much? Because she's so pretty. Okay. Okay, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. She's too pretty to disagree with, apparently. Oh, okay. And her name, let's bring her back up. Her name, apparently, thank you so much, Alfred, is Eva. I can't even read. You tried to make it easy for me. I can't even read this. I can't even read the easy version. Flaherdingerbook. Oh, Eva is just Eva. Flaherdingerbook. Okay. I don't know if I did that right. Anyways, let's go back to this. Let's go see what the hell happened here.
Riots. One of the biggest news stories in the UK at the moment is, by far, the fallout from the riots that have engulfed the country for the better part of the last month. Originally started following misinformation surrounding the murder of 3 girls in Southport at a yoga and dance workshop, the riots swiftly spiralled even further into anti-immigrant violence, with buildings set ablaze and shops being pillaged. For their part, the police have been keen to crack down hard on these rioters, with more than 1,000 arrests and more than 500...
1,000 people have been arrested. Okay, like how many of these 1,000 people have actually committed in something in destruction of property or doing something violent? So because the rest of them are just protesters. And okay, 677 people have been charged. Okay.
Being made. As a result, many of those caught up in rioting have been handed multi-year sentences, something that certain right-wing commentators have criticised as being particularly harsh. Now,
I'm glad he said right-leaning. I'm glad that he said right-leaning instead of far right. So that's pretty good. That's pretty objective.
Harsh. Now, while much of the media have been focused specifically on the rioters themselves, much less attention has been paid to those that fanned the flames, especially online. While other countries, such as the US, have a blanket stipulation in their constitution stating that their citizens have a right to freedom of speech, the UK doesn't really have this.
Guys, if you're an American, you should be like so proud right now. This is why it's good to be American, right? This is why it's so good to be American. If you're an American, please acknowledge how lucky you are that you have this. Please acknowledge this. This First Amendment, the whole world should be jealous of you for having this.
Right to freedom of speech. The UK doesn't really have this, with the right to free speech being qualified by the right of others not to be subjected to hate speech. As such, laws exist that prevent people from being allowed to make hateful comments about other groups, something the police have invoked a lot more recently in relation to the rioting. So in this video, we're going to have a look at why the police are allowed to do this, how these powers have been used recently, and some of the arguments in favour and against these police powers.
All right, so let me actually respond to some guy. This guy in the chat is saying, yes, the Richard Medhurst guy, the guy that was arrested for supporting Hamas, you're saying that you agree that he should have been arrested. He's an actual terrorist sympathizer. Terrorist sympathizer should not be something that you could get arrested for. Terrorist sympathizer. You believe in thought policing? You believe in thought policing? You want morality police, checking people's opinions? Is that what you want? Bad ideas should be fought with better ideas. That's like, what are you guys? You guys sound like leftists, wanting the government to come and police people. You want a nanny state where people with the wrong opinions, instead of you having the responsibility. What about the responsibility of citizens fighting bad ideas? You want the government to come do everything for you? Is that what you want? The government to do your job for you? You want the government involved in your personal lives? Instead of like acting, instead of you basically taking the responsibility and doing something, you want the government to just enter in. Isn't that like, aren't you guys supposed to hate leftist narratives? You're becoming, a pro-government involvement leftist yourself. Anyways.
Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Now, the most pertinent piece of legislation in relation to all of this is the 2003 Communication Act, specifically Section 127, which makes it illegal to send a message by means of a public electronic communications network that is grossly offensive or is of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character.
That is insane that you guys have that. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Why do you have this? A person is guilty of an offense if he sends by means of a public electronic communications network a message or other matter that is grossly offensive. Holy fuck! You have made being offensive illegal in the UK. You have made being offensive illegal in the UK. This is unbelievable. What the hell is this? Okay. Okay. Jesus. Okay. I mean, who gets to define what's offensive? I mean, shouldn't Islam? I find Islam offensive. I find Islam. The Quran. I find it very offensive. I mean, isn't the Quran offensive? Shouldn't anybody who, by any definition of what you consider to be, any standard that you set that will consider any message offensive, if you apply that to the Quran would be offensive. Okay? I challenge you to come up with a definition of offensive that would not make the Quran offensive. Okay, because this law would mean that all the Muslims posts in the UK, everything they're posting about Islam, posting verses of the Quran, electronic versions of the Quran, they should all be banned according to this law. Unbelievable.
One of the first big, notable and controversial uses of the legislation after it was introduced was back in 2010, when Paul Chambers tweeted the following. Crap, Robin Hood Airport is closed. You've got a week and a bit to get your shit together, otherwise I'm blowing the airport sky high. While certain
Wait, that's obviously a joke. This is obviously a joke. Does this guy get arrested for this?
Otherwise, I'm blowing the airport sky high. While certain comedians and celebrities, such as Stephen Fry, defended Chambers, it was argued by the prosecution that his tweet met the criteria of an offensive message, stipulated in the 2003 Act. This argument was accepted. Chambers was found guilty, then fined £385 and ordered to pay £600 in court costs. However, following an appeal in which his lawyer argued that Shakespeare would have been prosecuted if he tweeted certain parts of Henry VI Part 2, his conviction was quashed. Now, the reason we bring this case up is that
Wait, but we got a super chat here. HD Drake is saying, whenever I hear about UK laws, I think American Revolution was justified. Okay, thank you for the super chat.
highlights just how difficult enforcing laws on online communication can be. Were a similar statement made in the context of a stand-up routine from one of the more edgy comedians, it's hard to see the police taking an interest.
Wait, why are you not mentioning his name? Ricky Gervais.
Stand-up routine from one of the more edgy comedians, it's hard to see the police taking an interest. However, when tweeted online from an
Yeah, so why is the comedian not arrested for the saying similar things? Like, why is that guy arrested? Like, so the guy who said it online as a joke, he's arrested, but when the comedian is saying it, he's not arrested. So am I supposed to... So whether or not my opinion is considered offensive requires, like, I need to be a comedian. This is so insane. The standards are all over the place. So if I'm making a joke, I should have a comedian license for it to be able to make a joke without getting arrested for it? Is that how the law works?
Taking an interest. However, when tweeted online from an unknown individual, the intent is seemingly more ambiguous. Nonetheless, in an attempt to clear up any of this ambiguity, only a couple of years after this case, in 2012, the Director of Public Prosecution, current Prime Minister Keir Starmer,
Hey, I know this guy. He looks very different. This is Keir Starmer, like 20 years ago. Huh?
Director of Public Prosecution, current Prime Minister.
His hair is not white.
Mr. Keir Starmer issued new guidance in relation to the Communication Act, stating that if someone posts a message online that amounts to a credible threat of violence, specifically targets an individual or individuals, or breaches a court order designed to protect someone, then they should be prosecuted.
All right, so there's some clarification. So it should be a credible threat of violence, okay? So wait, what these arrested we're saying is not a credible threat of violence. The guy was saying, "Who the fuck is that law?" That's not and he was going like this to the police. So they have to pretend like pointing like the police like this as a credible threat of violence, specifically targets an individual or individuals or breaches a court order. Okay, this breaching a court order designed to protect someone, that's insane, because now the courts have the power to basically make people silent about certain things. So you're free to say something unless the court decides that you can't. That gives the court so much power over who can say what.
This is also true of people.
So you try to clarify, but now it's up to the court, so that the court can do whatever they want with that.
People who receive malicious messages and then pass them on, which in
this is okay, guys. So it's not just if you tweet; if you retweet as well, you're in trouble. You could go to jail in the UK for retweeting somebody. Listen to this.
Protect someone, then they should be prosecuted. This is also true of people who receive malicious messages and then pass them on, which in essence refers to retweeting something. The caveat imposed, though, was that a tougher test would be used by police to determine whether those accused of grossly offensive, indecent, obscene, or false communications are charged.
Guys, this is like, I'm showing you this because I wanted to make sure that we don't go to right-leaning accounts or other people with biased opinions on Twitter and just highlight those. I just wanted to get a more objective coverage of what the hell is happening. And you can see that even when it comes to objective coverage, this shit is insane. Okay? So this is not a right-leaning people explaining what's happening. This is objective. This is objectively insane.
Argue that this is because it would not be in the public interest to take such individuals to court, and that this new guidance would protect the individual from threats or targeted harassment while protecting the expression of unpopular or unfashionable opinion about serious or trivial matters, or banter or humour, even if distasteful to some and painful to those subjected to it.
Right. So wait. So you understand what just happened? They're saying, if you give this to the police, this actually protects the individual. So let's listen to this argument again.
Proposed, though, was that a tougher test would be used by police to determine whether those accused of grossly offensive, indecent, obscene, or false communications are charged. He argued that this is because it would not be in the public interest to take such individuals to court.
Wait, so you're giving it to the police because the police will be tougher and then we don't have to take it to the courts? Well, we're seeing that the police is now... So this theory by Keir Starmer is being challenged now, like 20 years after, because you're saying that the police is not being tougher when it comes to the standards. They're actually willy-nilly just going out with people just pointing out and saying who the fuck is Allah is actually getting you 18 months in prison. So this, what he's saying, Keir Starmer was saying then, ended up being incorrect.
And that this new guidance would protect the individual from threats or targeted harassment while protecting the expression of unpopular or unfashionable opinion about serious or trivial matters, or banter or humour, even if distasteful to some and painful to those subjected to it. This guidance was then developed yet again in 2013, clarifying that prosecutions were unlikely when the author of the message had expressed genuine remorse, took swift and effective action to remove the communication, or when messages were not intended for a wider audience.
Right, so you can see that that's not actually how it's working now, right? And also you have to say, I'm sorry for having the wrong opinion. And then the government might forgive you.
Against this backdrop, that the most...
Oh, I'm saying we're getting a lot of super chats. I will read them shortly. Let me just get to the part of this video that we understand what the hell is happening, and then I will read the super chats.
Recent charges against those that were seen to incite riots were laid, many of whom were given...
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to see if he's saying what I'm saying. Hold on.
Had expressed genuine remorse, took swift and effective action to remove the communication, or when messages were not intended for a wider audience. It's against this backdrop that the most recent charges against those that were seen to incite riots were laid, many of whom were given custodial sentences. For example, Lee Dunn was jailed for 8 weeks after sharing 3 racially aggravated anti-migration memes on Facebook.
So, posting memes. Lee Joseph. Okay, so let me actually write these names down because I want to look into these cases later. Lee Joseph was he got 18 weeks. No, 8 weeks for memes. Okay, meme posting.
And Billy Thompson was jailed for 12 weeks after also sharing racially aggravated content to social media.
Okay, 12 weeks. Who's this guy? What's his name again? Wait, what was his name? Go back. I need to look these up, guys. I want to see what they consider when they say racially aggravated. I want to see are they considering as anti-Islam as racial?
Lee Dunn was jailed for 8 weeks after sharing 3 racially aggravated anti-migration memes on Facebook, and Billy Thompson was jailed for...
Billy Thompson. Okay. I'm going to look these guys up eventually and figure out what the hell they posted.
For 12 weeks after also sharing racially aggravated content to social media. Both were charged under Section 127 of the Communications Act. For some, these sentences seem unreasonable. Will Lloyd, writing for The Times, highlights that some might question whether prosecutors and judges who deliberately keep an eye on their political bosses and the headlines are making examples of foolish people who pose little actual threat to the public. This was something that Douglas Murray argued in favour of in The Spectator, saying that it is impossible not to notice that it is indeed the plebs who have been marched to the court sharpish during the unexpected speeding up of our justice system in the wake of this month's riots. Others, though, argue that there is nothing unprecedented about the law being particularly harsher in the context of violence in the UK. Joanna Hardy-Susskind, a barrister, claims that during times of widespread disorder and mob violence, the principle of deterrence in sentencing comes to the fore. It's a legitimate aggravating factor that a person has posted criminal material online against the backdrop of dangerous, volatile times. This was exactly what happened back in 2011, the last time we saw this level of rioting across the UK. In fact, in some instances, the punishments were even harsher, with 2 individuals, Jordan Blackshaw and Perry Sutcliffe-Keenan, being handed 4 years each for using Facebook to incite a riot that actually never took place. Now, it's not.
So the problem is that the UK laws, the way they work, is that if you have set precedent for something before, then it would justify you doing it again in the future. So instead of like trying to figure out rationally, think every time if this makes sense, the argument is like, we did it before, so it must be right. So that's how UK law works, apparently.
Not up to us to determine whether the police are right to have invoked these powers, whether they were proportionate, or whether they demonstrated a slow slide towards censorship. However, it is at least true to say that there is at least some precedent for the Communications Act being used in this way, and it's.
So see, this is a justification. There is precedent, as if that makes it okay, as if that makes it rational. This is how UK law works. We have precedent. Oh, well, whoop-de-doo. So you fucked up before, now it justifies for us to fuck up again.
Clear that this guidance has been updated over time in order to try and balance concerns around freedom of speech with that of protections from hate speech. We'll leave it up to you to decide whether this balance, in this instance, has been struck. If you want to keep learning, the best way is through Imprint. That's the brand new way.
So let me actually look up the 2 guys because they just said, I mean, it was racially aggravated. So let's see what the post actually. These 2 people, right? So I'm going to see what they posted. But by the way, guys, do not defend these people's freedom of expression based on whether what they said was okay or not, right? I'm going to check what they posted, not because if they said something okay, that means that their arrest was unjustified. Because even if they said something that was racist, the arrest is not justified, right? I'm just curious to say what they posted. But please, when you are defending these people's freedom of expression, please don't go ahead and say what they say was true or okay or not racist. Because it doesn't matter if it wasn't racist or was racist. It should still be allowed whether or not it's racist or not racist. Okay, even if what they're saying is wrong. But I'm just curious what they posted, right? So the first guy, Lee Joseph Dunn, the guy who got 8 weeks. So they say it was racially aggravated. So let's see what it was. So he posted 3 memes. Lee Joseph Dunn was arrested and jailed for posting offensive and racially aggravated content on Facebook. The post involved 3 images that were deemed grossly offensive. Oh my God. Oh no, dear government, come protect the public from offensive memes. Offensive memes. Oh, by the way, and these people haven't been arrested, okay? When we say 2-tier. So let me actually tell you what this is before I double check what's happening over there, right? So this is heavily armed Muslims walking in the streets. I mean, this is not aggravating. This is not threatening at all, right? Why is this? Okay, yeah. So this is a mob of Muslims who are visibly armed, just walking in the streets, and this is not the police nowhere to be seen, and these people are not being arrested, right? So look at this. Look at what they're carrying. Oh, guys, the reason why I'm saying that they're Muslim is not because I'm being like bigots, okay? It's because I watched this video before and they're shouting Allahu Akbar, okay? So I'm not guessing like, oh, Armin the Islamophobe is just like, oh, just sees people with weapons and he thinks they're Muslim. No, they're shouting Allahu Akbar. Hey, what is that guy carrying in his right arm? Because the other ones are carrying a baseball bat. This guy is carrying a knife, I think. Am I seeing that correctly? Yeah, that's a knife. Holy crap. This guy is just walking the streets holding a knife. This is guys. Are you? Is this more threatening than offensive memes? Like, how come these people? How come where's the police here? Like, just go knock on the people's doors for posting memes. Like, sure. What about this? If that guy's carrying a knife. Yeah, that's a knife. That guy's guys. Am I missing something here? That guy is carrying a knife, and he's not like he's just holding it in his hand, casual. Well, okay. Oh yeah, wait. What city was this in? I had it right here. This is in Stoke. Okay. Yeah.
Back from the summer love.
Oh, I don't know what the hell this is. But let's go back to this guy, these two, and let's see what the hell they said. Okay, so the first guy on the left, Lee Joseph Dunn, he posted offensive memes. So there were three memes. The first image. This image depicted a group of men described as Asian in appearance at the Egremont, I don't know what, crab fair with the caption, "Coming to a town near you." Wait, okay. So he was saying, basically he was showing some Muslims in a fair, and the caption was "Coming to a town near you." Hey, wait a minute. So basically what I just did, it would be considered, yeah. So if I say like, "Oh my God, guys, this is coming to a town near you in the UK. Look at all these Muslims in the street," that is a crime, apparently. Okay, so that was the first meme. The second meme was, this image showed a group of men, again described as Asian. I think Asian, you mean like Pakistani or something, right? Asian in appearance, disembarking from a boat onto Whitehaven Beach with the caption, "When it's on your turf, then what?" Okay. And then the third image was, I mean, none of these are actually racist. The third image was, the final image featured a group of men also described as Asian in appearance, wielding knives, in front of the Palace of Westminster. It included a crying white child wearing a Union flag t-shirt with the caption, "Coming to a town near you." Were these AI images? Like what? I wish I could see the images. Let me see if I could find the images. Because this seems like AI made. And then so these posts were linked to a national civil unrest and were charged as being racially aggravated. Dunn pleaded guilty to the charges and received an 8-week jail sentence, which was reduced to 12 weeks. No, wait. 8. How is this? I think this is written incorrectly. Due to his guilty plea. So it was reduced to something else, but not weeks. Okay. Do we have the images? No, they're not providing us with the memes. They just describe the memes. Nope. No, I don't see the memes. Okay, let's look at the second guy. So the second guy is Billy Thompson. He was arrested and jailed for posting racially aggravated and offensive content on social media. His post on Facebook included emojis depicting a person of ethnic minority and a gun, which was made in response to Cumbria's police announcement of this dispersal order aimed at preventing potential disorder in. Okay, so the police gave an order for people to disperse, and he responded with an emoji of a minority next to and a gun. So he was arrested for emojis. The court determined that Thompson's post was not directed at the police, as he claimed, but had racial elements contributing to the broader context of civil unrest across the UK at the time. Wait a minute. So this guy on the right got 12 weeks for posting emojis. This is a joke. Is this an onion piece? this cannot be real. And yeah, going to jail for emoji crime. God, this is a joke. Okay, guys, your country is becoming a joke. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, why is there not enough of a backlash to this? Like, where are the other? Where are your lawyers? Where are your legal advocates? How is this being allowed? And how is, I mean, it seems like the public is supporting this. I mean, like, you guys is the public supporting this? Like, do we have like an opinion poll over whether this is okay or not? It seems like a lot of you who are complaining about this, are you guys the minority? Like, let me know. But anyways, we got some super chats. Oh, before that, I forgot to mention this. We have a new member. The Underdog became a YouTube member. Thank you guys for supporting this channel by being members and, giving super chats. We do need them because these streams get demonetized right after the stream is over. So thank you so much for all of that. Become members to support the channel if you can afford it. It's just $1 a month, so I think. I forgot how much it is. Marius, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. And Arax on UK, thank you so much for the £5 super chat, saying many countries with constitution have freedom of speech. For example, states of WiseGuard Group. UK doesn't have constitution, but Bill of Rights. Yes. I mean, does any country have the level of freedom of expression that United States have? Or is like United States it? So let me know in the comments if you know this. And then HD Drake, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, saying, little did I know nuns wagging their fingers at me at my childhood Catholic school was a credible threat of violence. Now you know. I mean, technically that is actually, HD Drake, that is a credible threat of violence because they are threatening you with hellfire, with eternal torture. So that might be an actual threat of violence, right? Ash, thank you so much for the $5 Canadian, the best type of dollar, super chat. No, actually, I shouldn't say that because then people with other dollars are not going to do super chat. No, all dollars are welcome here. Ash, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, saying, so just because they are shouting Allahu Akbar, they are Muslim? Wow. Okay, this is Ash is being sarcastic, but thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. And yeah, that's about it. Let me actually see. Guys, please make sure you like the stream. I need you guys. You don't have to do super chat. There's a free way that you can support. I mean, do the super chats if you can. But there's also a free way to support this channel is by liking the stream, leaving a comment after the show is over. Praise the YouTube gods for blessing this channel, right? The only gods that we worship here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification. Make sure you advertise this channel to your friends, to your enemies, to strangers, to everybody, to your pets. Okay? Tell your goldfish to come subscribe to our channel. Right? But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Somebody's saying early release is meant for non-violent offenders. So is it true? Shouldn't you know before bringing it up? No, actually, that's not true. The early release, they actually released, here, I actually read this. Child rapist is spared jailed due to prison overcrowding crisis as judge admits it would have been virtually inevitable that you would have gone into custody. So, yeah, no, actually, that's not true. I double-checked this before the stream was... before I started the stream. Okay, UK says that gun laws in the US is causing problem for law and order. Meanwhile, the country itself turning into a surveillance state. Yeah, it's turning into a police state. Arthur saying, sorry, Armin, if you supported Hamas on the 7/10, what is this? You should be interrogated. I mean, even if you want to support interrogation, I shouldn't be arrested for it. I shouldn't be in prison for it. Maybe I would be a suspect, that maybe I should be on their watch list or something, but I shouldn't get arrested for it. Again, not that I support this. This is obviously vile and disgusting, but I don't want the police to be, I don't like thought crimes. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, we have talked about this on this channel for so many times, why thought crimes don't make any sense, right? And then say, again, I'm okay with somebody being put under a watch list because of suspicions, because of their views. That's fine, I think, but not to be arrested for just their opinions. Arthur is saying, again, let's say your neighbor came with a T-shirt of the man that murdered all your family. Would it be fine with you? What? Arthur. Why do people get this confused? Why do people think when we say something shouldn't be illegal, it means that we are fine with it? Why do you get these two confused? The whole point of freedom of expression is for us to support the legality of expression that we hate. Of course, we are not fine with it. We just think that some things should not be done by the government. Of course, I'm not okay with it. Why do you think that? That's why we defend free. If we were defending opinions that we like, then we wouldn't even need free speech laws because we like them anyways. Nobody's going to suppress them if we all like them. Why do you get legality confused with us endorsing it or liking it? If I say racist opinions should be legal, it should be legal for you to be able to say something that is racist. Does that mean that I like racism? Do you think I'm endorsing racism by saying that? How are people getting this confused? No, that is not total. Arthur is now saying that is total freedom of expression. No, I'm a free speech maximalist, not a free speech absolutist. There are limitations. The limitation is, for example, a direct threat of violence. A direct threat of violence. Like if somebody says, like, "Hey, I will give you this," or we should do this to so and so and eliminate him. Okay, that should be a crime. So I do not believe in absolute freedom of speech, but the limitation, I want minimum limitation, and the limitation should not be opinions that we don't like. Do you think I like racism when I say that racism shouldn't be legal? You think I'm fine with racism? I think that when I say racism should be legal, that means that me and you should be fighting racism. The government shouldn't be fighting racism. Not everything should be done by the government. You want a nanny state, huh? You want the government to come chew your food at night and do you want the government to come and read you a bedtime story to put you to sleep, huh? Is that what you want? Oh my God. Anyways. Levantic is saying, wherever people don't burn Qurans, Muslims will soon start burning people. Well, that's an absolutist statement. Don't use the whenever as if this is a law, right? Maybe actually mention the correlation or causality instead of making the relationship to be like 100% one-on-one, right? Am I being, yeah. I don't know what this is referring to. Anyways, I think I respond. Oh, we got a super chat here. Ash, thank you so much for the $5 Canadian super chat saying, I unalived. I don't know if I should read this. Oh, I unalived 10 people with my thumb. What are you in for? I posted emojis. Okay. Now I see. I get the joke. Okay, good. Oh, Bardo is here. Bardo is saying Google took action by letting go of several employees after a violent protest involving face recognition, real consequences, and it's not always up to the government to intervene. Yes, agree with that second part. Fantastic, Bardo. Good. Anyways, somebody say I didn't get the joke. The joke is like two prisoners. Like imagine if you're in prison for killing people, and you're like, this is why I'm here for. And then somebody else saying like, I post what are you in here for prison for? Like, oh, I just posted emojis. So comparing what the reasons why people go to jail for. Let me see what this is. Ziv is saying, Armin, do you think if people are spreading a terrorist organization propaganda, they should be arrested if they could potentially incite people to violence? The degree of separation cannot, if you add what should be limited when it comes to freedom of expression is a direct threat of violence. If you say you said something that led to somebody doing a direct threat of violence, then technically you could arrest so many people for that because a lot of speech could indirectly eventually to lead somebody doing a threat of violence. The degree of separation of the speech to the threat of violence should be direct. It cannot be speech that led to somebody else doing a threat of violence. The speech itself has to be a direct threat of violence for it to be illegal. Because if you add degrees of separation, then all our speech here would be illegal. What if we say something? What if my anti-Islam narrative convinces somebody to be anti-Muslim, and one day goes threatens a Muslim? Then my speech all of a sudden becomes illegal, even though I didn't do a direct threat to a Muslim, but because my speech inspired one person to give a speech to directly threaten a Muslim, now my anti-Islam speech will all of a sudden become illegal. So no, it has to be directly. The speech itself has to be a direct threat of violence for it to be illegal. Okay, this person is saying, I think people are concerned that what you may say now will get you in trouble with the law. Yeah, I mean, I know some people are exaggerating, but maybe the exaggeration has some. I mean, the exaggeration might have some utility because a lot of people will complain more. But no, actually, because a lot of people are not going to take you seriously once it's proven that what you're saying is not correct. So be careful, guys. Complain about what you know is happening. Be careful. If you exaggerate, it's really difficult for us to be taken seriously. Yeah. So make sure that you double check what the UK is getting closer to a police state, but make sure that every time you're accusing the government of something, that you actually have a specific example for it, or else this whole complaint is going to be dismissed as some far-right loonies making stuff up, right? Anyways, guys, please make sure that you like the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Make sure you leave a comment after the stream is over if you want this channel to grow. You should want this channel to grow. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching us on Twitter, please head over to YouTube. Search for Atheist Republic on YouTube. Find our channel. Subscribe to us there. It's so much more fun here. You get to be part of the live chat. Your comments get highlighted. Alfred is here highlighting your comments, and you get to be part of the show. I respond to some of the comments that Alfred stars. And thank you so much, Alfred, for doing all of that. That's a lot of work. And also thank you so much for Dolly for her finding all these videos, doing all the research, giving me all the contact. I wouldn't know how to do all of this without you guys. So thank you, and till next show, stay liberal. And by the liberal, I don't mean liberal party. I mean the actual classical definition of liberal. So yeah, stay liberal. Bye.